Welcome to Psychic Social, brought to you by psychic.co.uk.
On this episode of Psychic Social.
And she'd been hurt very badly. And we were walking across the beach, and I turned around to ask her, would you like to go for a coffee? And she wasn't there. She just disappeared.
Wow. Welcome to Psychic Social with me, Oliver Duke, the podcast that explores all things from the psychic and spiritual perspectives, including interviews with famous psychic practitioners, discussions about the afterlife, the paranormal, and much more. So relax and enjoy the show. Today's guest on Psychic Social prides himself on having a fresh and modern approach to psychic work in the 21st century. As a psychic medium and spiritual coach, he possesses an amazing gift, with not only being able to clearly see future events, he also has the ability to channel spirit, passing on their messages to loved ones. He has a lovely engaged following on social media and currently carries out psychic readings daily from his home. The person I'm talking about is the fantastic Shawn Stone. Shawn, thank you so much for joining us on Psychic Social today. How are you doing?
I'm really well, Oliver. Thank you for having me today. Thank you for asking me to come on the show. I'm really excited about it.
Well, we're really pleased to have you on. It's fantastic that you could join us today. We just wanted to know kind of what you've been up to today. And obviously, we're now in this kind of we're actually coming towards the end of this sort of second lockdown period. What have you been up to? I think you've kind of mentioned that you might have moved house recently.
I did move house recently. I wouldn't recommend moving in a lockdown.
Right.
However, I am here now. Today, I've woke up. It's been one of those beautiful days today where the sky's been blue. There's frost on the ground. I've been for a lovely walk, done my gratitude journal, done my diary for next week and the week after for the next few weeks, and just gone into gratitude today for all that is. And I'm just feeling very settled now. I've been here about 5 weeks. I moved from Sussex, Brighton, and I'm near Glastonbury, so I can open up my energy here in Glastonbury and start doing my readings in a very spiritual, energetic part of the world.
Well, it sounds great that you've settled in so nicely now into your new house and your new space and your new energy. Now, I mean, we've been asking most of the guests that have come on after sort of March time this year about kind of how they dealt with the initial lockdown period that we had at the end of March this year, and how they kind of kept positive vibes raised and up, and maybe how they kind of helped other people around them, including maybe their followers on social media, to kind of do the same. How did you do that, Shawn?
Well, initially, approximately about a week before the pandemic came, being a nature empath, I was living by the sea. And I was going to the sea, Oliver, and I was hearing and feeling something was coming. And the only way to explain it was like a big wave of something was going to come and change the world. I wrote it in my diary. I put it on my Instagram, my Facebook page. Then when it came, it was like, oh my goodness, this is what it is. I wasn't expecting the magnitude of the worldwide pandemic, the virus. Mm-hmm. Personally, I put my shell up, went into typical Cancerian mood, went out there, seeing what was happening. I did realise initially everybody was going to fear, panic. So I stepped my game up, my energy up, my vibration, and started doing maybe 1 or 2 videos a week for my followers on my Facebook, my Instagram pages. Mm-hmm. Keep the vibration high, stepping up self-care, grounding, and also not feeding into the fear and the media. So yes, it was about raising the vibration, staying on top of the energy. And I got really, really busy with my work. At one stage, I had a 3, maybe 4 week waiting list for my readings. Right. But it did give me the opportunity to stand back and ask myself who I was. And I went right back on my journey across some timelines as well. So it was really nice to sort of stop and reset everything, as everything was resetting, to reconnect with who I really was.
Yeah, and I think it was a great time for a lot of people to do that as well. And it's interesting you mentioned about, you said you felt this wave of change, or whatever the wave was that was coming, and one of the other psychics we had on recently mentioned the same thing. They were in a development circle right before the pandemic came, and they kind of felt this sense of this huge wave of change coming. It's interesting that you should mention that.
Yes, and I think, being an empath, we feel energy a lot deeper, and it was the sea that was speaking to me. The birds were tweeting, singing differently. Mother Earth was screaming, going, something's coming, something's coming, something's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And when it happened, it was like, this is what's happened. But the scale of it was so immense. It took us all by surprise, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It definitely did. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we'd like you to kind of, moving on sort of into the show now, and we'd like you to sort of take us back to the beginning for you, where it began for you as a psychic. Would you say it was something that you were born with, or something that you sort of kind of had to cultivate or discover? And how did it work for you in terms of your psychic journey at the beginning?
I do believe it's in my blood. My grandmother and my mother, they're Irish. They used to sit round when I was a child doing the tea leaves in the back room. They used to close the curtains. And they also used to do something called scrying, where they used to scry the fire flames, a bit like channeling the flames. And once I grew up and looked into them, I thought, oh, that's what they were doing. And as a child, I was always with my mother. I was like her shadow. So I'd sit there and watch it all. Then one day, my grandmother said, Shawn, can you see anything in the fire flames? And I did. I started seeing faces, and I started channeling names, and she was just going, oh yeah, that's your grandfather. Oh yes, that's your auntie. And I do believe it did come through my Celtic side. Also, I had my first, if you want to call it, psychic experience stage 4. I was laying in bed one evening, and I felt the presence of this man appear, and I seen him. He had a very dark suit on, black, possibly grey, a tie. His hair was very similar to mine, black and curly. And it was just like this wonderful energy came in the room, and this light came all around me, and I felt very protected. Went downstairs the next morning and explained to my mother what I'd seen. And she said, oh my goodness, that's your grandfather. I was 9 months pregnant with you when I went back to Dublin to bury him.
Wow.
My grandmother was there as well. And I can remember her saying, oh, Shawn's got the gift too. And that was the start of it all. But what I've noticed in my readings, Oliver, is when somebody elderly passes through to the spirit world, somewhere along the family line, the bloodline, a child is born. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was the initial stages. Then that was developing my mediumship, my connection to the spirit world. And as we know, not every psychic is a medium, not every medium is a psychic. I developed my psychic ability, if you want to call it opening my third eye, my ESP, my extrasensory perception at school, mainly because I was bullied. So I used to use my energy, my ESP, to see where the bullies were in the school grounds, school yard, on the playing fields, and I divert that energy into protecting myself. So that's where it started developing. That went throughout my schooling.
Right, I see. That's very interesting to hear all that, Shawn. Well, you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago about the kind of scrying in the fire, and I've seen a little bit about scrying. You can also do scrying down a mirror with water. Is that right as well?
There's lots of ways to scry. Yes, I haven't heard of that one particular.
Right. Maybe I've got that wrong, but yeah.
I'm burning some incense here, and it's in my eye line. And it's around a picture of one of my guides. And that's a form of scrying.
Well, it's great to hear all that. Thank you, Shawn. Well, I'm sure you've kind of had many done many fantastic readings, I should say, over the years as a psychic. But is there a reading or some readings that have really kind of stood out for you and kind of stuck in your memory for whatever reason?
There are many. And as a psychic medium, quite often we have to forget about it because we can't carry that energy forward with us. I've predicted lottery numbers, lots and lots of pregnancies. I've even worked with the police with a missing person, One that I can recall, what can I recall that stays in my heart? I was away before I started working professionally about 10 years ago with a friend on holiday. We were in Spain and we sat in a cabaret bar watching a cabaret show, feeling very relaxed. And there were two elderly ladies in the corner of the room. And all evening I was saying to a friend, I feel very drawn to this lady. What is it? And she was looking at me, I was looking at her. Towards the end of the evening, she came up to me, sat next to me. And for maybe about 40 minutes, I held her hand. Her late husband came through. She'd gone on this holiday with her sister to get over the grief. And for about 40 minutes, he just came through. My face changed into him. And I just channeled all this information to her. Things like, oh, you're going to have a grandson. You must go on that trip that we booked, that cruise. Then all of a sudden, the light changed and he disappeared. Now, why it always stays in my heart, this particular story, she said to me, she was so wrapped in grief and loss that when she got home, she was going to commit suicide.
Wow.
But now she knew that her husband was with her and he was going to go on the journey with her and be in all this wonderful place with her. It gave her the life to carry on. And I always remember that story because it's like the power of spirit came through to me, used me as a channel to give her the life to go on.
Yeah.
And spirit move in such mysterious ways. And I often think about her and think, well, did you do all those trips?
But in some instances, I mean, like that, for example, you've saved, more sort of indirectly or directly saved someone's life, haven't you, really, with that information?
It's me. It's certainly not me. From an early age, my family called me Shawn the Messenger. And even when I go back to Ireland now, it's like, have you got a message for us, Shawn? And I do give them a message.
Yep.
They all stand in a line and I give them a message and then we're done. I don't have any ego of this work. I don't say, I said that. I did that.
Sure.
Somebody's life. I now know I've been used as a channel throughout my life to help, guide and heal the separation of the loss between the earth plane and the person that's in the spirit world.
Well, it's really nice to hear that story. That's a wonderful story.
Yes, I've come to accept it now.
Yes. Well, it's really nice. Thank you for sharing that, Shawn. Thank you. Well, I mean, we've been hearing about your mediumship in the show so far. I mean, you mentioned your guides briefly earlier on. Can you tell us about your guide or guides, and are there one or many, and how do they work for you?
I currently have 3 guides.
Okay.
I have St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, and he's been my guardian guide since I was born, and he's helped me and assisted over the years with acceptance of myself, clearing my ego self, not having any ego of the work I do. If I do, he comes in and says, enough.
Yep.
Confidence, self-belief, healing myself, and he also gives me the healing energy to help others. And he also helps as well with my creative side, because I do a lot of video work, I write a lot of affirmations, and he comes through and helps with me with my creation of words and stories and writing. Then I have a lady named Anna. Anna's from Eastern Europe, and she helps with my mediumship work. So, for example, prior to doing a mediumship reading, she comes through. I always listen to a particular piece of music on repeat that I'm not going to share today because it's very personal to me. I listen to that. I believe that connects with her vibration. She comes through my soul. Then I can connect to the aura of the client and see what spirit's within that aura, because the spirit comes through to me in the aura. I see the colour, or sometimes their face changes into that person, or I see the person on the left side, the right side, or they walk in the room with them. Then, this is quite a powerful shift to have. Maybe just a month or 2 after the pandemic, my guide changed. Well, another guide came in, and his name's Cyrus. Now, Cyrus was a famous king of the Persian world. And I always had an interest in the Persian world. I always listened to the music. I was quite fascinated by the country. Now, Cyrus is mentioned in the Bible. He was called Cyrus the Great because he respected the customs and religions of the lands he conquered. He was acknowledged for being a great healer throughout his time. Now, he helps me with strength. He gives me the strength that I need to move forward and to do my readings. He helps me with my soul journey work, and he also helps me to see the bigger picture. And since he's been channeling through me, the information and the evidence that comes with my psychic readings has been really powerful.
Right.
Very much in gratitude to have these guides, and I work with them very sacredly. They're very gentle guides. They work very gentle with me.
Okay. And the first two you mentioned, when did you first kind of realise that they were these people, and that they had the names that they had, and that they had their personality, or whoever they were? What kind of age or time in your life did you realise about them?
It's a good question. I'd probably take a whole show just to talk about spirit, but to put it into content, the secret of finding our guides is within our soul. We have to do a lot of personal development work. We have to go into our soul. They carnate with us in this lifetime. Anna came through maybe around 10 years ago. I found a picture of her and felt very drawn to her. St. Patrick, he obviously was with me since day dot, since I was a child. I didn't find him to my early 20s, but when I found him, it all made sense, because channeling the spirit world as a child, until I worked it all out when I became an adult, I thought it was the Holy Spirit coming to the room every evening, because I became quite religious, reading the Bible, going to Sunday school, doing religious education. And I started seeing pictures of St. Patrick and felt very drawn to him, like I'd seen him before. Then one evening I lit a candle near a picture of him, and that was when the magic happened of him saying, "I've been your guide." So that's how I found my particular guides. The interesting story of Cyrus was, I was working out my Christian name in Persian. And it said, "Walk like a king." So I Googled Persian king and seen this picture of Cyrus the Great. And the word of a lie, it was such a powerful connection, I could hardly look at it. I was shaking, thinking, who is this person? I've seen him before. And it must have took about 2 or 3 weeks for him to gently come through to my soul. And I went out and bought a lovely picture of him, went into nature and connected and learnt all about his history. But now I'm working with them, and I've got enough at the moment. I don't think at present I would like any more. I believe in this lifetime we have 6. We're lucky we find a handful. But that is the story of me finding my guides and the journey I went on. I have done a YouTube and a Facebook video about how to find your guides, how to connect with them. But everybody is individual. Some do, some don't. Some believe in them, some don't. But I really believe that our guides carnate with us in this lifetime, and one stays with us throughout our time. They come through long before we were born. They may come and go. Sometimes they stay in shadow until they are needed again to help us achieve a specific task, or to give us that strength or a purpose in what we're doing. But they always give me unconditional love. They've never judged me. They always give me what I need, not what I want, but also move me forward in love, light, and protection.
Well, that's a very interesting and detailed description of all of your guides, and thank you so much for that, Shawn. Well, that moves us nicely into a break now. We're hearing some fantastic stuff here from psychic medium Shawn Stone here on Psychic Social today, and we're very much looking forward to hearing more from Shawn in part 2, where we'll hear all about his travelling experiences, his fascinating take on the afterlife, and much more. So we'll see you after this. Hi, hope you're enjoying the show today. Now, we have a brand new horoscope email you can subscribe to at psychic.co.uk. All you have to do is wait for the pop-up to show on the website and then enter your email and star sign, and every Sunday night we'll email you a free horoscope for the week ahead. Now, you can dive in one step further if you wish and take a look at our Horoscope Plus memberships. This is your weekly horoscope plus a lot more. There are 3 memberships to choose from, and we've covered all budgets, we feel. So the Robin membership gives you private, exclusive access to a more detailed horoscope on the member horoscope pages at the website, and a chance to win a psychic reading via Zoom each month. And you'll get a free access code as well to the taster version of our amazing video tarot course with Nikki Allen, 10-Hour Tarot. Now, this membership is just £1.99 per month, and you can cancel it anytime you like. There's a ton of stuff in there for such a small amount of money, so much value. The next membership we've got is the Feather membership. It's a step up from there, and it's just £5.99 per month, and you can also cancel anytime for that one too. Now, as a Feather member, you'll get a much more detailed, in-depth horoscope than the Robin membership horoscope. And on that Feather member horoscope page on the website, you'll get exclusive access to that with over 1,000 words of horoscope broken down into 3 sections. That's including romance, work and family. It really will give you a fantastic insight into the week ahead every single week. You'll also get our truly amazing astrology video. That's thrown in for free as well, which is 30 minutes of fantastic content on astrology. And as with the Robin membership, you'll also get a chance to win a psychic reading via Zoom every month too. So that's wonderful value in there as well for $5.99 a month for the Feather membership. And the final membership is the Angel member. That's the top level membership to access on the site. That gives you some amazing stuff, and all that info is on the website. Just head to psychic.co.uk/membership and take a look at which one will suit you. We'll put the link in the show notes of this podcast down below for you, so you can just click there and check them all out there. You can also check out the horoscope page and have a little sneak peek at what the Robin members are getting there already. That's at psychic.co.uk/horoscope. Right, now back to the show. Welcome back to part 2 of Psychic Social and our chat with psychic medium Shawn Stone. Now, we were talking with Shawn about lots of fascinating stuff before the break. Now we're going to hear a bit about Shawn's spiritual coaching. Shawn, can you tell us a bit more about that, please?
Yes, sure. I'm currently writing and putting together my own spiritual coaching package into modules, which is a personal one-to-one with me and the client, which I have called Are You Ready to Awaken Your Soul? The main emphasis of the coaching is to assist and help the client to become the person this lifetime, the person they really are meant to be. However, in order to do this, I have to go back with them first. Mm-hmm. Now, I've learned a lot of disciplines. There's been so much for me to learn, and I feel Spirit have promoted me to do some teaching now. So disciplines, grounding, being in harmony with the guides, learning ethics, taking time out, boundaries. But going back, the first part of the modules is clearing ancestral karmic ties, cleansing old conditioned thoughts and beliefs, shadow clearing, healing past wounds, working with the inner child. This can be quite a big one. Working out who are their spirit guides. I know how to find spirit guides now, so I can pass that information on to them. Then we can go into more empowering modules, which is learning self-love, understanding true life purpose, learning to listen to their own intuition, clearing the clutter away, sitting with thy soul and listening to their own intuition, manifesting what they want into their life, and finding appreciation and joy. I've always been quite a passionate person about helping and guiding others, so it comes very natural to me. Mm-hmm.
So it's a very much a sort of an empowerment and uplifting sort of almost like a sort of life coaching thing, but with your spiritual guidance along with it. If that's what you say that was.
It is, and everything grows from our soul first and foremost. And I'm not saying I'm the catalyst, but going back to being the messenger, I like to go through it first. So everything I teach, preach, I want to have gone through it first. There's nothing like having that experience first, Oliver. And it's like poetry in motion. As I'm walking my journey, I do a lot of writing, and I want to pass that on to other people to enable and help them to really become the person they need to become in this lifetime.
I think if people are searching for that sort of thing, they want to definitely approach someone that has walked that path already, and take advice from that person, rather than sort of looking for people around them that might not have walked that path, or might not intentionally want to walk that path, but finding someone like yourself that understands, where they want to go and where they're going and where their life is going, or where they want to be.
Yes, and I think this shift of the worldwide pandemic has shifted many people into their truth. If you think about it, everybody went into fear.
Yeah.
Everybody was told to go indoors, be better human beings. You can go out once a day for a walk. You can queue and learn some patience and have some gratitude for the food that you're collecting today. And after the fear settled, I know many, many people who are following me that are starting to change their lives. They're becoming healers. I'm doing a lot of work with people who are wanting to become mediums, etc. So it is having a worldwide shift, and this is what we need. That vibration of the healing light just to rise maybe 0.5%, and then Mother Earth can settle, and we can rebuild what has been broken from the root chakra again. And I did get given the name the Messenger as a child, and what I believe every medium does is they're the messenger, the facilitator, to blend the two worlds together so the client can touch and feel that love once again. And I work very much from the heart, and the people that come through to me do feel that. And whether the heart is broken, damaged, they've been betrayed, it's all about uplifting them into their power, into their space, and just giving them that energy to be able to move them forward. With all the work that I do, when somebody says to me, Shawn, you've given me the tools, you've given me the love or the upliftment to move me forward, that just magic to my ears. I have a wonderful day. It's like social media. If I put an affirmation out there, I do a video, one person just comes back to me, and it happens quite often. And it could be someone in America, somewhere in a different part of the world. They'll just say, oh, I really needed that today, Shawn. Thank you ever so much. I really need to hear that. That to give me some upliftment. They can go away, pass that on to somebody else, and that'll uplift somebody else. It has what I call a domino effect. And my social media and the videos I don't do it for numbers and likes, or I've never asked anybody to share any of my work. I do it with love from my heart, just hoping to uplift even just one person. It does make my day.
That's a really great sentiment, and a really great kind of attitude to have moving forwards, which obviously a lot of psychics have, don't they? But it's great to have that attitude and that mentality, within that. Well, Shawn, we understand from you, looking at your website and your social media and things like that, that you've travelled pretty extensively across the world over the years, and have sort of passed some spirit messages on to people during your travels. Can you tell us more about that and any great stories you have during those times of travel?
Sure, yes. I think I've been to 30 to 40 countries. Wow. And prior to coming in to working professionally, within the work I do, I did work in the travel industry, so I was very fortunate to travel to a lot of countries then. However, I think it's 8 years ago now, Oliver, I lost both my parents to cancer in the same year. Mm-hmm. And to get me through the grieving process, I was travelling to all these countries. And I think there's 51 countries in Europe, and I've been to 31, including the Vatican City.
That's right.
And my friends couldn't believe it. They were like, where are you going next? But it was part of my healing journey. And I'd always bring my cards with me. I had one particular set of cards I had since I was 15. Never charged. So, for example, I could be sat on a beach in Portugal. I could feel somebody needed a reading, and I'd get the cards out. But what I didn't realise, walking across the beaches, walking across the land, I was actually healing the pain, the separation and the loss. And we must remember that when we heal others, we heal ourselves. And I can remember one day I was sat on a bench in Gibraltar, very broken, very hurt. And a lady was sat at the other bench. And what I noticed about her initially, her top teeth were missing. And again, we felt very drawn to each other. She came over and asked, could she sit next to me? I said, of course you can. She held my hand. And she said, we both have been broken and hurt. Can we walk together? And we walked across the beach. Then just like an angel, she disappeared. And I Googled it all and thought, what was this about? She came and she left. And it was very much like an earth angel had appeared. And from that day onwards, I could move forward.
Mm-hmm.
It was a story that I will always, always remember it. And I also write a journal each day, so it goes back in my journals. But yes, I call her the earth angel that just appeared and then left.
And how did she leave? How did she kind of disappear? How did that happen?
We went for this walk and I picked up she had been in an abusive relationship and she'd been hurt very badly. And we were walking across the beach and I turned around to ask her, would you like to go for a coffee? And she wasn't there. She just disappeared.
Wow.
And of course, initially I thought, is this a figure of my imagination? And I went back to my hotel room, lay on my bed, and just processed it all. Rang a friend up and explained what had happened. And my friend, who's been doing this work a lot longer than me, she said, it's an earth angel. She came to send you some healing, and then they disappear.
Wow. And was this woman a local, or was she English, or where was she from? Could you tell?
She was English.
Right.
She was an English lady. I can visualize her now. Maybe about 5'2", quite small, blonde golden hair to her shoulder. But what was very significant about her teeth was missing, as if somebody had hurt her, somebody had maybe punched her or done something bad to her. So she found me to heal, but she must have got healing from herself. Maybe that was her thing, Oliver. She was going around healing other people in order to heal herself.
Wow, they're fascinating stories. Thank you for those, Shawn. I'm sure you've got lots more of those. Amazing. Well, we'd like to kind of move on to our last question, our last psychic question, if we can, of the show, which is, what are your thoughts about the afterlife through your mediumship and being a psychic, and what do you think happens when we eventually leave the earth?
It's a very good question. And there's lots of perceptions. I'm sure you've heard, and the listeners have heard, there's so many different stories about the afterlife. So it led me to do a video about it on my official Facebook page and also on my website, shawnstone.co.uk. I did a blog about 3 months ago about what actually happens when we pass the spirit world. Where do we go? And my belief is, when we pass, as our physical body is shutting down and our heart stops beating, our brains are flooded with dopamine, the feel-good drug, if you want to call it that. And this gives us pleasure and ecstasy. And that's why when people are around people that are passing, they'll say, oh, they really went peaceful. They're leaving the pain body behind. Now, many who have experienced near-death transitions often describe the story as a tunnel of white light, don't they? And this is true, because as we're crossing, the veil between the two worlds is lifted, and our aura, which is connected to our physical body, releases. This is the part that does not die. It holds the memory bank, the karmic records, our emotions, and our personality. Now, these also transition with us. I'm led to believe it's a silver cord, an etheric cord at the back of the neck. It disconnects from the physical body, and this is when the white light and the tunnel appear and the passageway appears. And this opens us up to the realm, what some people call heaven and some people call hell. Now, this is what I think is the really important part and the interesting part. Where do we go? The spirit world consists of 10 realms. 6 are higher, 4 are lower. And depending how we've lived our life on the earth plane depends on which realm we go to. So, for example, if somebody takes their own life, they will go to the spirit world. However, they'll go in a lower realm because they'll have to be taught about the precious life that they've given up. Somebody like Princess Diana, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, they'll go in a higher realm. They'll go quite high quite quickly. My late mother, she was a very giving, charitable, selfless person, and I felt her go very high very quickly to the higher realms. So heaven really is a place on earth. And to understand the afterlife, we must understand our life here on the earth plane first, who we really are, what is our life's purpose, and what is our mission. And are we spreading love? Are we spreading kindness? It's a bit like a bank. You invest into that bank goodness. When you get to the spirit world, then all your lovely karmic energy is kind of counted up. And that's where you go on to whatever vibration you need to go in the spirit world. That's my belief. Not everybody will agree with that. I have a lot of feedback with what I did on my Facebook video, but that is my belief. And I work in truth. I'm a truth seeker, and that sits very well with me.
Great. Well, it's good to hear. Definitely good to hear your take on it, Shawn, as we ask every psychic that comes on. And yes, obviously everyone's thoughts and opinions and ideas about what happens after you die are different, not massively different, but slightly different in places. But it was interesting you mentioned about the silver cord, because I have heard about that before in a book I read a number of years ago, which was about 50 or 60 years old, I think, called The Supreme Adventure. Have you heard of that book? It's like a spiritual book.
No, I've not come across that one, Oliver.
Yeah, it's a really, really old book, and I don't know how I came across it or found it, but I ended up buying it, a second-hand copy off Amazon, and you can get books from other bookstores. But yeah, it was really good. It mentioned about the silver cord and that's the attachment from the physical body to the spiritual, to the spirit. Is that yeah?
Our aura has 7 layers to it. Mm-hmm. I've been reading aura since a child. The outer 2 are visible to the third eye. But our aura is our energy field, and this holds everything, our karmic records, every foot we've taken on the earth plane, and it just releases just around the back of the crown chakra, and that's when the transition to the spirit world happens. And we've also heard stories about people that have gone to the light and come back, haven't we? Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. It wasn't their time.
Sure.
Talking about going to the white light, there was twice when I was a child that I nearly died.
Wow,
and right. Spirit saved me. So now looking back, I know why they saved me. But there was twice when I nearly died. One, I nearly drowned, had to be saved by my cousin. Wow. And the story still runs through the family when Shawn nearly drowned in the river.
Right.
And secondly, I was on a cliff. I used to love climbing and outdoors. And I got lost on this cliff, and the emergency service had to come rescue me. And now when I look at it, I know why I was saved. You know, when you go back on your life and you put the jigsaw puzzle together, it goes back to what I talked about earlier about understanding why we're here, what is our purpose, and what is our mission. My mission is to provide evidence of the afterlife, do my healing work, do my readings, and be as creative as I can to raise the vibration of the planet, of other people's energy, to keep the vibration of the earth plane in love, life, and harmony.
And that's a fantastic reason to be here and be alive, isn't it? To affect people in that way, isn't it?
It is, but it's been quite a difficult journey, Oliver. It hasn't been easy. And it's only now that I'm putting it all together. Perhaps due to lockdown, there's more time on my hands to stand back, sit back and reflect I feel very much at peace why I'm here. It can be a blessing, it can be a curse. Not everybody believes in this work.
Yeah, for sure.
We feel nature more. We have more of a connection, an attachment to the spirit world. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I absolutely love the work I do. I'm very passionate about the work I do. And I love every day that I'm learning something new.
Great. Well, it's great to hear all that, Shawn, and thank you for your thoughts about the afterlife and those stories as well. It's fantastic to hear those and fascinating. I'm sure the listeners have very much enjoyed to hear all that stuff. Now, we're coming towards the end of the show now, and the last couple of questions we've got for you are going to be moving a little bit away from the psychic world. We just wanted the listeners to get to know you a bit more in terms of kind of what you like to read, maybe what you like to watch on TV or online. Can you tell us what the last book you read was, or kind of box set or TV show you watched?
I don't watch TV.
Okay.
I do TV, but I watch YouTube. I don't watch any mainstream programs. Also, certainly not the news. In fact, in one of the videos I did at the beginning of the last lockdown was, please do not sit in front of the news and watch like a soap opera. In fact, about 6 weeks ago, I thought, right, I'm just going to watch the news for maybe about 30 minutes on my phone. So I went onto YouTube. I won't say which news station it was. For about 30 minutes, just to see how I feel. Well, my vibration went down straight away. The terminology, the words that they were using, the darkness of it all.
It's all inflammatory, isn't it? And scary, and, you know. Yeah.
It is. And then the news bulletin, the music, do. And the words that they're using, you know, like lockdown. You don't lock down people. You don't even lock down animals.
And the copy's all in bright red and bold and, you know. Yeah.
This particular one I watched, it was like, wear masks, stay protected, do this, do that. And I stood back and thought, one, I had to get some sage out.
Yeah.
And cleanse my TV, my phone, and my aura, and go for a walk just to cleanse myself. So I don't really watch TV. If I'm cooking of an evening, I'll put somebody else following on YouTube in the background, listen to them. I love listening to music, meditation music. Reading, I'm a bit of a fanatic when it comes to books. I've just read again a book that I've had for maybe 20 years, which I'd recommend, The Art of Psychic Protection by Judy Hall. This just goes a bit deeper about how to protect yourself. And to me, it's like a Bible. I'm also reading Care of the Soul by Thomas More. And at the beginning of the first lockdown, I started studying numerology.
Right.
And I bought a book on numerology, which I'm reading now. Keep on dipping in and out of that, learn all about the history now. There's an interesting story of this, Oliver. This particular book I have in my hands now. I purchased this book on eBay 5-6 months ago, because I believe in recycling. Received the book within a day or two, opened it up. On the second page, there's a stamp. Maybe back in the day, people used to put stamps on books. There's a name, an address, and a telephone number on the second page. I can't say the name, but I looked at the address, and the address was the same address I lived in maybe 15 years ago in Leeds.
Wow. Really?
So I called a friend and explained it to them, put the book down, meditated on it, and thought, what is the chances of that happening? So I searched for the lady, being a psychic detective I am, couldn't find her, found her daughter on social media, and unfortunately the lady had passed. Lit a candle, she came through to me and said, I wanted you to have this book. I want you to study numerology. And as I said at the beginning of the show, spirit move in mysterious ways. But I often think the chances of that happening, if scientists put that in a machine and worked it all out, it'd probably be about billions to one, wouldn't it?
Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
It is. And things like this happen to me nearly every day. Not as powerful as that, just synchronicity of psychic energy or spirit communicating with me. So yes, it's definitely a path that I kind of enjoying at the moment, the numerology. And it all started with the 1111 movement. I don't know if you've seen on social media for the last few years where everybody's putting 1111 on.
Well, I've started seeing 1111 in the last few months, probably about 6 to 9 months, like a lot more. I mean, just recognizing it and seeing it all the time. And, almost every time I look at my watch or I look at, whatever, anything that's got a number on it, I always seem to see it. Funnily enough, our website is kind of not quite live yet, but it's about to go live in the next couple of weeks. And we just put like the area code of our phone number in the footer, but obviously, haven't got the finalised phone number yet for the office. But we just put 111111 in there, and I saw that the other day. I was like, and that was just random. We could have put 000 or 222 or 999 or whatever. But that, and just seeing that, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yes, what I'm working out as well now. I'm working numerologies into my readings.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a lot of people enjoy it.
Yeah.
His numbers follow people around as well. I've moved twice in the last couple of years, and I've gone from number 28 to number 28, which is a 1, which is a new beginning. I'm speaking to the people who move from addresses or buy new cars of similar number plates.
Well, that's very interesting, because my first house that I lived in as a child was number 28.
Wow.
There you go.
We were meant to speak today, weren't we?
Yes, we were, definitely, yeah. I love that. It's great.
For me, we're both creating something new. It's a new beginning. We're in new energy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's definitely what we're doing here at Psychic Social and psychic.co.uk, for sure. Well, Shawn, it's been fantastic talking with you today. Before we let you go, can you just tell everyone listening about your website and your social media and anything you've currently got selling? Obviously, you've got the course coming, and we'll put all those links in the show notes for you.
Yes, of course. I'm not selling anything at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
My website, shawnstone.co.uk, it's Shawn with a W. I do provide all the different types of services. People can book readings with me on there. Sometimes people just get in touch with me, ask me a question. That's fine. There's an email on there that they can contact me. Mm-hmm. I've got Instagram. I've got YouTube. I've got my official Facebook page, which is Shawn Stone Psychic Medium. If you just Google me, you'll find me somewhere. And the Facebook is fantastic. We've all become very connected through the pandemic. It's not about sharing things and likes and pass this butter on. I talk about some deeper topics. And it has become a community for people to dip in and out of, Oliver. But yeah, I'm hopefully going into sort of more products next year. I want to create my own tarot cards. I want to get my book published, but that's all next year. There's no rush.
Yeah.
Take all this journey in its stride. It doesn't have to be rushed. The affirmation for me is just walk gently in peace and with gratitude in my heart.
Well, that sounds great, Shawn. Fantastic. Can you tell us a bit about, you mentioned to me before the show about your TV and radio work you've done or you're going to be doing. Can you tell us a bit more about that, please?
Yes, of course. The radio work, I did a video maybe 3 years ago. A radio producer seen it. He said, "Oh my goodness, did you do that?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Did you write it?" I said, "No, I just channeled it on the beach." And he said, "Would you like to be interviewed?" And I said, "That'd be grand, yes." And he said, "Would you like to do shows for us?" And it's all professional radio, FM stations.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing shows and have been doing shows about law of attraction, how to ground yourself, talking about the chakras. I've been writing them myself. The next one I'm doing is how to find the real Christmas spirit this year, because this year is going to be such an emotional Christmas for people because of the worldwide pandemic. The TV work, I've worked on some of the Sky TV stations here in the UK. I have a production company who wants to do a psychic show with me with a twist.
Ooh.
And he's chosen 3 or 4 psychics in the UK to do this show. Unfortunately, due to the lockdown, we can't do it, so that's penciled in. Then I've had somebody get in touch with me from America, from Hollywood,
right.
LA.
Wow.
I know, all very genuine. And I've never reached out to anybody. They've come to me, which I like that when it happens all very organically. And what it is, they have some celebrities in the USA mainly actors and sports people. I can't mention any names at present, even though I've got the script. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be talking about their experiences of the afterlife. So the production company have chosen, I think it's 3 mediums from around the world. And the last message I had when lockdown is over, they're coming to London to do some filming with me. So I'm just very much in gratitude. And it's not about, success in America or the ego self. If I can have more of a platform to explain and talk about the afterlife, that's amazing for me.
Well, it's fantastic to hear all that, and all of that sounds massively exciting for you, Shawn. Well, we're very much looking forward to hearing more about that once you sort of completed those things, and maybe you can come back and chat with us on another Psychic Social and tell us all about it.
Oliver, it would be my pleasure to come back and do another show with you. I've really enjoyed it, and I've really enjoyed your energy as well. You're a great interviewer, and having been interviewed before, yes, I'd be up for that again. Totally.
Great stuff. Sounds brilliant. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you so much. Well, I mean, it's been wonderful to have you on Psychic Social today, Shawn. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all this great information with the listeners and me here today. Thank you very much for coming.
It's been my pleasure, Oliver. Have a great day.
Well, yes, thank you. And you too. And take care. Stay safe. And we look forward to speaking with you again very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Shawn. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Psychic Social from psychic.co.uk, the spiritual home of psychics.